You've probably seen comments on my YouTube videos for years talking about BROOGLI'S basement. Please let me out of the basement. It's been 17 years. I'm hungry. It's cold. Yada, yada, yada. But I bet that you didn't know that the BROOGLI basement is not just a YouTuber comment joke. It's actually a real Backrooms level. And in this video today, I'm going to be explaining that level. Whoever does not like this video right now, this second, is condemned to be sent to BROOGLI'S basement, never to escape. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the explanation of Backrooms level BROOGLI'S basement, also known as level 00. Level 00, or as it's more commonly known, BROOGLI'S basement, has been classified as a class 3 difficulty rating due to the dark environment, impossible size, and the extreme difficult in escaping the basement. The level itself is not infinite, but instead it's a very large set of concrete and cinder block hallways that lead to rooms and giant openings. The concrete hallways themselves lead to different corridors and little branch-offs, and all of these hallways eventually lead to large open rooms with tiled floors and pillars holding them up. The layout of level 00 is confusing and it's overwhelming, mostly because of the lack of light in the hallways, as well as the harshness of the concrete and cinder block surfaces here. The halls themselves are very cramped, and they seem to be constructed directly out of a cinder block concrete material, and they're usually no taller than about 5 foot 6 inches in height. And because of this, most people that get sent to this level, they have to crouch around and kind of get down and walk so they can't hit their head. The ceiling of the level is nondescript, and it pretty much is just a concrete ceiling. It's impossible to tell where this level is located because there are no windows that lead to any exterior. We don't know if it's in the void, we don't know if it's in real life. There's literally no way to see where you're at. The hallways here don't have windows, the rooms don't have windows, the concrete rooms don't have windows. You don't know. And because of that, being here is very, very claustrophobia inducing, and people who come here often begin to lose their minds very quickly. While walking through the tiny cramped hallways in this level, you'll eventually run directly into large open tiled rooms. Now these rooms are typically much larger than a regular one that you would see in the back rooms. The ceilings here are over 30 or 40 or 50 feet tall, and there are columns and pillars located throughout, holding up the entire place. There might even be a table or a chair or something like that in a random spot on the floor here. All of these large rooms have some sort of tiled flooring. They could be colorful tiles, they could be tan tiles and nondescript, but whatever the case is, they're usually huge rooms with tiles and pillars. These rooms are less oppressive feeling than the tiny claustrophobic stone hallways that connect them, but even so, they're still empty and they're still liminal. They give off the energy of a dead mall or an empty shelf store. The concrete halls of this level is where you'll begin, and these are just a means to connect to the various different rooms like the ones I just described. Once you make it through those concrete hallways and get to these rooms, you'll find that they're pretty nondescript. There's really nothing besides the tiles, the pillars, and the chairs, except one important thing that you'll need to note. Inside of the rooms, on the walls, you'll notice missing people's posters taped up. Now these posters have the faces, the names, and the basic information of wanderers who have ended up trapped in level 00 and have gotten lost in its great expanse of hallways and rooms. Each time a new person gets sent to this level, their missing person poster will pop up in a various room right on the wall. And that is an extremely important detail for you to remember, because in order for you to have a chance of escaping, you have to find your own missing person's poster wherever it's at inside the level. Now keep in mind, this level is not infinite, it's just huge. There's a ton of different hallways that kind of snake around and lead to different rooms, and it's like a giant game of chutes and ladders. But it's estimated that the entirety of the level is about 200 to 300 miles of hallways. And in that 200 to 300 miles, there are an estimated 100 different rooms, which means you're gonna have to do some running to find your missing person's poster if you want to escape. But on your journey to find your own missing person's poster, you're gonna encounter several obstacles. First, everything, and I mean everything, is dark, especially in the hallways. If you have your own flashlight on your phone or a separate one, it really won't even work because it's almost like the darkness is Vanta black. It absorbs all light that comes into contact with it, which renders most sources useless. The only source of light in the level is located in the open rooms with the tiled floors. These rooms typically have kind of a dingy lighting inside of them, which really don't even help that much. Another obstacle you might face is the claustrophobic nature of the connecting hallways. These are a major annoyance because you have to bend down to walk inside of them upright if you're above 5'6", and this puts stress on your back and your legs, and it also slows you down. And like I said, you're on a time crunch here. You don't have infinite time. You have to run around to find your own missing persons poster, and it's hard to do that when the hallways are only 5'6" tall. On top of this, there are random staircases that you have to go up and down as well, which add to the confusing nature of the labyrinth. But it's thought that the level is roughly a multi-tiered oval shape, kind of like donuts stacked on top of each other, with the various halls and staircases that lead up and down. And along these rings is where you'll find the rooms I've talked about. Now, another issue with level 00 is that you cannot run into any other wanderers who are exploring the level. Some sort of non-Euclidean effect blocks out that ability. Although for some reason, you can still hear them. So you can have conversations with other people that are also stuck in level 00, you just can't see where they're at. This could be hurtful or helpful, or maybe kind of freak you out, I don't know. But probably the main struggle with getting through over 200 miles of hallways and rooms is the fact that there are no resources here at all. There's no almond water, there's no food, there's no random supplies that'll help you. You are literally in an empty labyrinthine hellscape of concrete halls and tiled rooms. And in order to survive, you'll have to rely on whatever you brought. And for most people that come into this level, they weren't preparing for a multi-day excursion, so they simply die. If that sounds impossible to you, then you better find your missing persons poster as fast as you can. Sleeping on this level is only safe to do inside of the tiled rooms, as if you fall asleep in the concrete hallways, the pinhead entity will be able to infiltrate your dreams and devour you while you lay there. Now, other than the possibility of Pinhead appearing, there's only one other type of creature that you're gonna have to worry about here. These creatures lurk inside of the hallways, and they are a level exclusive entity that are only known as Peeping Toms. These Peeping Tom entities have bodies that are very dark, and they blend in with the non-light of the hallways. The only visible thing on them is usually their deep-set eyes and their growling, gurgling noises. The shape of the creatures is usually hard to determine because they really hide well, but it's thought by many that the Peeping Toms themselves are actually victims of this level who could not find their poster in time, and they eventually succumbed to starvation or dehydration. And once they died, the level kind of reanimated them and forced them to live this mangled existence in eternal darkness and confusion. On that same note, Peeping Toms are hostile and fast. They possess an inhuman ability to sneak up on people, and they also have an inhuman strength about them. The only way to tell if a Peeping Tom is near you seems to be that the air temperature drops very fast. So if one approaches you, you'll get cold. If this happens to you and you get cold randomly in a hallway here, you need to do a couple things to survive. So the peepers, they hate light. So try to strobe or shine any light you have in the hallway. Fire works best. It might scare it away, it might not. But the biggest danger of the peepers is either an ambush attack from behind or sneaking up on you while you're asleep in the tiled rooms. This is the only time that the entity will sneak into those rooms is while they know you're asleep, because they don't like the light. They typically hide in the dark hallways. They don't really have mouths that are visible, so it's thought that when they consume, they just make one appear and then it opens up and swallows you. But other than that, that's all we know. This is some kind of wretch-like creature that lives in small concrete hallways and eats people. We don't know how many there are, we don't know if they're multiple, we don't know anything besides what I just said. The only way to enter level 00 is by tripping and falling while inside of a safe level, or by not subscribing to me. If you do that, if you trip and fall by accident in a safe level, you have the chance of being sent to a hallway or a tiled room inside of level 00, and from there, the race is on. You'll have to run around to the random rooms and find your missing persons poster on one of the walls. Once you find it, you need to tear it off the wall and rip it in half. The second you do this, you'll be sent back to the level you came from, and you'll have survived the labyrinthine hell of level 00. And you can tell everybody that you know that you beat BROOGLI'S Basement. The worst possible mistake that you could make here is by not moving with haste. running slowly and kind of just walking around, chilling, that'll cause you to starve to death or be eaten by a peeping Tom or Pinhead. There's no resources here. There's no forgivingness in the environment. It's just 300 miles of concrete hallways that lead to rooms, that lead to concrete hallways, that lead to rooms, and so on and so forth. And as you can tell by the thousands of missing persons posters on the walls here, there's been a lot of victims of level 00. And whether they take the appearance of a peeping Tom, or if they were eaten by a peeping Tom, or just decayed in the level, many people have been cast into Brooglie's basement for eternity. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this explanation. This was a custom level made by yours truly. I haven't made one of these in a long time, so I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for clicking the like button. I appreciate and love all of you. This Brooglie's basement bit has been going on for probably 3 years on the channel, and I say we keep it going. So whoever has the funniest basement joke in the comments, I'll pin their comment. I sincerely thank you all for your support. I love and appreciate you all, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.